Alright everyone, how you guys doing? Welcome to Apple Weekly number 75, the show where I tend to cover everything Mac, but now and then iOS is starting to dominate, which I don't like. But hey, this week is probably the best out of the 75 that I've done so far, mainly because it's just all related to meaty Mac news. Before getting started, be sure to check out iGear.com. I know you do, don't be shy, and you can carry your iPad, MacBook Air 11-inch, your iPhone, Android device, the full shebang while you're on the road. Easy to access pockets, you get the point. Up first, let's get rid of the iOS stuff. Apple versus Samsung, they've been in various courts, British courts, German courts, Korean courts and United States, and Apple recently in the States won their case against Samsung, but in Britain they have lost. Apple have lost. Apple has been instructed to run newspaper ads that say, you know, Samsung did not infringe our patents in the text font Arial 14, the size, nothing less. So it is a bit of an embarrassment. Apple can appeal, but nothing has been kind of pointed out that Apple is indeed going to go to the Supreme Court or, you know, take this matter further, and this is an egg in Apple's face. The judge pretty much said that Samsung tablets aren't cool enough when compared with the iPad, so there goes that. And moving on, Apple announced its media event, formally, officially, breaking news kind of style. Everything before this was kind of speculation, but it was kind of on good grounds. But Apple made it official, sent the invites out, and the image doesn't really give you much apart from we are just something to do with mini or tiny updates. It's being held in California Theatre for all to views who want to know, and in addition to this, all these Mac sites managed to get a hold of part numbers for iPads and iPad mini. Well, hey, surprise, it's coming, and it's coming in various versions as you expected. So you'll probably have the Wi-Fi versions, and you've got the LTE or the cellular versions, which are of course more expensive. What I'm interested in is the pricing, as the iPod Touch is a rip-off, but you know, it's hard to see where exactly it's going to be placed, given that the iPod Touch starts from £250. The rumour from websites are that it's going to start at $329 US, which will probably equate to £329. But that US dollar pricing, the $329 US, is between the iPod Touch and the iPad 2 second gen 16 gig Wi-Fi version, so it's in between that. How that works out in the UK is yet to be seen. And in addition to the iPad mini stuff, the iPad 3rd gen is also going to get a minor refresh. They'll probably just put a lightning connector inside and make it sound that it's a major thing, but it's rumoured to be a tiny update. And over the course of this Apple Week, you'll see a lot of stuff is happening next week. A lot of stuff is being changed next week, and I kind of have my doubts. Why refresh so many lines at the one time? But hey, the more the merrier, and they could just not do anything with the iPad and just have a meaty Mac refresh, which is what I ideally want. And moving on to the Mac stuff, which is what I've been waiting for a long time, and in specific, the MacBook 13-inch Retina is also making its way next week. These leaked images kind of confirm that something, whether they are announced next week and released 2 or 3 weeks down the line, time will tell come a few hours. But here are the leaked images of the 13-inch Retina, and as you can see, you've got an HDMI port like you do with the 15-inch Retina, you've got the SD card again. Here's an interesting thing, the speakers aren't visible, so that means the speakers are probably going to be shabby come the 13-inch Retina. I hope I'm wrong, but you know, when the 15-inch Retina was introduced, one of the main things, or one of the things Tim Cook said was, this is the best audio on a notebook. So I hope the same goes with the 13-inch Retina, but I think, you know, with Apple it's always like, they tend to always on purpose leave one thing out until next year, where it'll just be magical, revolutionary kind of thing. But here are the images, 2560 by 1600 display, and for all those of you who are going to be getting this, really want to know how much this is going to be priced at, and it's going to be $1,699 US. And with the pricing, I thought it would be on par with the higher end 13-inch MacBook Pro, which is $1,499, because the 15-inch Retina is the same price as the higher end non-Retina MacBook Pro. So I was thinking along the same lines of high-end 13-inch Retina, but it's $200 more expensive if you look at it that way. But then again, if you look at the 15-inch version, it's $2,199 US. So this is kind of good if you're saving a few $100 on a 13-inch Retina. What do you guys think about the pricing? What should it really be? These prices are pretty much confirmed by 9to5Mac because they managed to get a list of retailers and their SKUs. I'm just hoping that it's really under £1,400 or £1,300, but knowing Apple, that won't be the case. And last but not least, Mac Minis and iMacs are also going to see a refresh, and it's been just over a year with those two machines in itself haven't been updated. Good news come next week, and if you have bought one in the past few days, locate your nearest file and just bang your head back and forth for a few minutes and then realise what a mistake you've made. But according to 9to5Mac, Apple is going to keep the same pricing point on the Mac Mini, so you've got two standard versions and one server version, and same with the iMac. And the good thing always about Apple is the pricing tends to stay the same, plus or minus, you know, the different currency differentiations, but they tend to be the same price, plus or minus a wee bit, but nothing kind of totally radical. The kind of bad news is that 9to5Mac says that don't expect a Retina iMac, simply because of the demand and the screens and the 15-inch shortages, and now making its way to the 13-inch. They just can't see how Apple will be able to do it this year, but come next year, sure, it'll be magic all over again. I guess it's also to do with the fact that if they do indeed bring Retina, are they going to bring out Retina across the board? Or is it going to be some? And if it's going to be some, it's going to add more SKUs and more inventory and more screens, and it's of course going to add more price. So if they do it, they're probably going to do it all together, but anything could happen come next week. And probably the best thing is, apparently the Mac Minis and iMacs will be able to hold double the storage. So currently a Mac Mini can hold up to 8 gigs, 4 gig in each slot. But now Apple are supposedly working so that you can add up to 16 8 gig in each slot, which is amazing, especially now that they've done away with the Mac Pros and a lot of offices. So it kind of makes sense that these systems are of not as much power, but they're still kind of replacements, and same with the iMacs, where once you could only hold 16 gig in 4 different slots, now you'd be able to hold up to 32 meaty gigs. In addition to this, well, this hasn't been rumoured, but this is something I would like, the ability to add, you know, hard drives more easily. Like currently you can just open up the RAM slot from underneath the Mac. I hope the upcoming iMacs, if they are indeed redesigned, then they are easy to kind of replace yourself or add more storage. And if there is flash storage, it'd be nice to put in your own 2.5-inch storage into the iMac and not have to do a Mission Impossible suction cup strategy, if that makes sense. But ladies and gents, that is it for this video. I hope you liked it. I cannot wait for this week. It's probably going to be the biggest week by far this year over the iPhone 5, for sure. What are you going to be getting? Let me know. Is it going to be a Mac Mini, iMac? Have you just sold something to make way for your new Mac device, whatever? Leave it in the comments below, and be sure to join me on Twitter, Facebook, you know the drill. I'll see you in the next video.
Whether
Cheers.
it be an iPhone, a Nokia, HTC, Samsung, heck, any smartphone on the market, it's compatible with our garments.
There is indeed a pocket for this, and a pocket for that. You can buy it today at igear.com. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. You never know, you might be the next one to get in on our free giveaway.